This cross-stitch pillow isn't no-sew, but it is low-sew. So I'm Kimberly Jolly from Fat Quarter Shop, and today I'm going to show you how to turn a cross-stitch piece into a really cute pillow with some nice finishing touches. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and let's get finishing. To make the pillow, you obviously need your cross-stitch piece. Now, we took this piece from the Patriotic Typeface series by It's So Emma, and we stitched this on 14 count chalkboard black, and the designs finish approximately 5 inches by 5 inches if you're counting the stitching. Now on the back of this, we're going to put Shape Flex interfacing, and we're using Pellon SF101. This is a great interfacing for cross stitch because it is not too thick and it will not stiffen your piece and it'll stay really nice. For the back of the pillow, we're using a Henry Glass Chelsea's Checks red print. So those are the supplies you need. If you want to make it really fun, we have a free triple star template you can download. We're going to attach that to embroidery felt, and that's going to be on the back, and it's going to give it a really nice touch. And we're also going to be using some Lady Dot Creates pom-pom trim in snow, and we're going to attach that using Eileen's Fabric Fusion. Now we also need some general sewing supplies that you normally would need, and you'll just see those throughout the video. And we're going to stuff our pillows with Poly-fil stuffing. So let's go ahead and get started. So once you have your piece finished, you want to give it a nice press. We use a pressing cloth by Yarn Tree, and I'm going to put my design face down and just iron the piece overall. I do use steam, but it is up to you if you want to use steam or not. And this, we really have all the wrinkles already out. So on the back of this, we're going to attach Shape Flex interfacing by Pellon. And on one side is a fabric, and one side you'll fill some dots. We cut this about 8 inches square, and we just want to put that on the back of the piece with the sticky dots down and press. And you just press it once and just make sure none of the edges are coming up, and then we'll move on to the next step. So we talked about earlier, this design is approximately 5 inches stitched. We're going to turn our pillow into a 6-inch finished pillow, but we're going to have 1/4 inch seams around that. So we really need to cut this 6.5 inches. The easiest way to do it is to start with a 6.5 inch square ruler, and that means I am going to need to be about 3/4 of an inch away from all of my stitches, and really making sure you find the center. And that looks like it's 3/4 of an inch all the way around, and it looks straight. So now I'm going to just cut all 4 sides. I'm just using a rotary cutter. And so to summarize, again, 5-inch area of stitching, 3/4 inch all the way around. Once we sew this to our backing square, which is also cut 6.5 inches, our pillow will measure about 6 inches finished. So we have our 6.5 inch cross-stitched piece and our 6.5 inch backing. Make sure your backing is already pressed. You'll put your backing fabric right side up, your cross-stitch fabric right side down, and I would strongly suggest using Wonder Clips instead of pins because the pins might pull your cross-stitch fabric. And I'm just going to put a couple of pins all the way around so it doesn't shift when I'm sewing. What you're going to do from here, you can start anywhere you want. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to start at the bottom or the top. We're going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam all the way around. And when you get to your previous stitches, you're going to cover them up. So you're not going to leave a hole for opening because we're going to put something really fun on the back so that you have a really nice clean front. So again, 1/4 inch all the way around, and I am just using a simple white thread. Any thread should work. I'm going to stitch with a 2.0 stitch length, and I'm going to pivot at each corner about a 1/4 inch away. So I've completely covered the entire back, and I went over my previous stitches from where I started about 1 inch. From here, what I like to do is clip the corners. So I like to make a little triangle on the corner. I'm about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch away from that. So first do a little triangle, and then if you want, you can kind of cut kind of a half rectangle away. And what that's gonna do is make, when we flip the pillow out, it's gonna make this have a point, and it'll look a lot cleaner than if you did not clip. You're just getting a little bit of the bulk out of the way. So on the back, I can tell the pillow is up and down this way. I'm gonna draw a line, probably in the center. So I'm gonna draw a line about 2.5 inches long. I'm using a friction pin because later that ink will come off with an iron. So you need about a 2.5 inch line. You're gonna pull this where this backing fabric is clearly away from your cross stitch. And you're gonna carefully cut on that line. So just cut a little snip and then just cut. It is gonna fray a little bit, and that's okay. Just try to cut as straight as you can. So from here, you're gonna turn this inside out, and you can either use the purple thing or a point turner or just your fingers. But what I like to do is just turn the pillow out, making sure you don't stretch the hole too much. We're gonna cover that hole up, but you just have to take your time and pull the pillow out. And you just want to be gentle with your stitched piece and gentle with the backing so that you don't rip the hole any longer. So just kind of get that out. And then I'm going to run my finger along this seam. Just put my finger right there and just pull that. And I'm just pulling the seam where it's nice and flat. On the corners, you can actually use your pinky if you want. I don't trust myself with the purple thing, but a lot of people use them. But I've put many a hole in things, so I'm gonna not use that. But that is a great tool if you are a little gentler than I am. So I'm just using my pinky. Okay, so my corners aren't perfect, and that's okay because I'm gonna be covering them up with pom-pom, but I just want them as poked out as I can get. From here, I'm gonna go to the iron and just iron it nice and flat on the front and the back. So from here, what I wanna do is just pull this to be even on the front and the back and really nice and flat. And I'm just gonna use the iron on the edge. So it looks good on the back. Looks good on the front, and we're gonna be adding filling so it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. So now we're going to insert poly-fil into the pillow, and poly-fil, it's kind of tricky. We're using 12 ounces because you could actually use 12 ounces for 3 pillows because I'm gonna show you the best way to do it. You do not wanna do this and put that in your pillow. It will look ugly later. You take little pieces and you put them in. Basically, I'm gonna fill starting here and just go around the edges and then start again. Go around the edges and a little bit at a time, and you'll be surprised how much poly-fil I get in this pillow. The more stuffed you get it, the longer it's going to last. If you just throw poly-fil in there, it's going to kind of shrink up over time and you're gonna have a sad little pillow. We added interfacing behind the front of our pillow, and the reason why is we did not want our poly-fil to come through to the front. So once you get to the end, you will have a little bit of poly-fil that comes through. Just kind of clean that off. See if you like the fill. You want to make sure it's kind of even all the way around. And we're going to just put this together really tight, and it does not have to be a pretty seam. I'm just taking some regular Clover black gold needles, and you just thread any needle, put a knot in it, very simple, and this does not have to be pretty. And you can actually just do like a long stitch horizontally and then come back vertically after. Now that I've got it closed that way and I keep it really taut, you can just go over with like a whip stitch across the top. And all of this is going to be covered up. So it doesn't have to be pretty, it just needs to be secure enough so that it doesn't come apart. And I'm gonna pull the thread really nice and taut, do a loop, pull my thread through that loop, and just tie it off a couple of times and then just cut the thread because we're about to cover that up. And just cut the thread right there. Then you're gonna go to fatquartershop.com, search triple star template, and you're gonna print this out full scale. And then basically just take some felt. The felt that we have is called Kimberly, and we decided to use white. And I just cut this out with scissors, and this is what you get is this. Trace this on your felt. So when I trace this down, I used a friction marker, which is a little bit thicker because the material is a little bit thicker, but you could use a friction pen. And then you're gonna just cut that out. And this is what it looks like. It's 3 stars, and we're gonna put that on here. And the goal is to cover up the seam. And right here, there's a little bit of a wrinkle. I'm gonna iron that out real quick. So now I wanna glue this down, and we tried a couple of different glues, and we ended up on the Fabric Fusion Pen by Aleene's. I'm not even gonna put it on here. I'm gonna put it right on the seam. So right where I stitched, all the way across. And our glue's getting a little bit low just because we have already made a couple of pillows with it, but that glue pen will work to make at least 3. And you just put that down, making sure you have covered your stitches. Now I'm gonna wanna let that sit for about 5 minutes before I do the next step. You can also add a little bit more glue under the stars after you've let that first batch dry. And the glue dries clear, so if you have a little bit extra, you won't be able to see it once it dries, so I wouldn't worry about any kind of extra glue showing. You can always cut it off later after it's dry if you want to. So what I'm gonna do is move my pillow out of the way and let that glue dry. And I have some pom-pom trim by Lady Doc Creates. It comes in a 2-yard package, and what you want to do is measure some first, and this 2-yard piece, if you measure carefully, should cover all 3 pillows. What I'm going to do is just measure around your pillow, 4 sides, and then give an inch so that you have enough. And save this for your other pillows. Now you might need 2 packages, but if you're careful, you'll use 1. So the pom-pom comes with a tape, and you can use that if you want to sew that in a seam, but we don't want to do that. There's a little thread connecting the tape to the pom-pom, and I'm just going to clip that throughout. And this is more intimidating than it really is. You know, when I first thought about doing this, I thought, oh, that looks really hard, and it's not. We're just taking this pom-pom off of the trim so that we can glue it down, and so it's very low sew. So now you just pull the pom-pom gently away, and you pull the little strings out. So now that the glue is dried on the back and I took the trim off of the pom-pom, I'm gonna glue this around the edge. And I'm going to start on the bottom. You can start wherever you want. And when I'm placing the glue, I'm gonna place it more on the fabric on the back so that I don't get glue on the front. This just takes time, so just go nice and slow. And I'm trying to place it where it is right in between the red and the black. So on the front, you don't see the red, and on the back, you don't see the black. And the key really is you don't want to have too much glue, but if you don't put enough glue, the pom-poms will come off. So you do need to put enough to where it won't come off. So I'm getting towards the end. I'm going to cut a clean cut here just so there's a nice clean cut. And I'm going to glue all the way until I can't glue anymore. And I'm going to cut that after it dries. What I'm going to do now is this glue is very forgiving. I'm going to go around and just adjust anything I think needs to be adjusted. I'm going to add a little bit more glue here so that it's nice and connected. I'll cut it right here for now. But later, once this fully dries, I'll cut that last little pom-pom off. And I would definitely let this dry for a couple of hours before you start moving it. That way everything stays where you have it because it's a slow drying glue. I love this method of pillow finishing. It gives you a really nice touch on the front and the back, and there's very little sewing. And it's a great way to show off our brand new patriotic typeface series that has 3 patterns in it so you can make 3 pillows. Subscribe to our channel for more finishing options, and I'll see you next time.